Welcome back to the Aspen Woodland Meadow. We're here heading towards the Aspen Grove, near it in the meadow that's around it, which is where you usually will find these aspen. They like to be interspersed or connected to, so in between. So what am I showing you right now? Those are, the camas. There's a lot of it out here, and it's just sprinkled in around like someone took a pepper shaker and sprinkled it around. All right, there's a little wild rose here. We've met wild rose. And then here is our aspen grove. So I want to tell you another cool story about the aspen grove. It's now we're not sure exactly where our mother tree came from. I know it was here, and it was maybe 20, 30 feet tall when I first got here in the early 2000s. But you don't see a lot of these aspen in the Corvallis area and in the Willamette Valley because it likes the habitat that's over on the other side of the Cascade Mountains. It likes that east side, and it's probably because the conifers and other things here tend to push it out, or the people that clear their land get rid of it. But it's not very common here in the Willamette Valley, even though it's beautiful. So where did this stand come from? It's not the only one. There are a few clumps like ours up and down, like if you go down the Willamette River. There's some near Corvallis, there's some in Eugene, and there are scientists doing research, and they think that a lot of these trees got here, or some of them came 15,000 years ago at the end of the Ice Age, when the ice broke up, and that had been holding back huge state-sized lakes of water. And that water came rushing down the Willamette Valley and brought with it things. It even brought huge boulders. It was so strong. And it came and dropped things that came from the other side of where the Cascades are. And so they think that possibly the aspen in this area came from those floods. Now, a cool thing about these aspen groves, since they're clones, what they can do is, say a fire came and burned all these down, the roots that are underground can resprout, and it can spread out farther and farther and farther. And in other parts of the country, like in Colorado, you've got miles and miles and miles of aspen that are all basically one plant from one mother plant. And so they spread out as clones. And these are some of the oldest and biggest organisms, plants, in the world, which is hard to imagine. They look so young and fresh. But some of them have been hanging on underground for hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. Not sure about our little forest and our mother tree, but it's pretty amazing to think that so long ago, when the Kalapuya were here, that aspen were here, just like this one. And I will be adding a story. The Kalapuya have stories that they have passed down for thousands of years about the time when those floods came. They were here when the floods came, and they had to take care of those floods themselves. And there are stories about how they went up Mary's Peak to get away from the floods. And we will find the stories and leave those in a separate post. All right, pretty cool. One of the magical stories about our Aspen Woodland Meadow. Very cool. So there's the aspen, and there's the meadow. All right, thanks for coming along with me and learning more about the aspen.